Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends M.O.D.O.K figure, which is kind of a Build-A-Figure in a box. I don't know what they're actually marketing these things as. Is it Deluxe? I don't remember. There's no front to it, there's no back to it. I mean, there's no, like, window. I don't see a Deluxe anywhere on it. I'm gonna call it a Deluxe figure, but it's really just a Build-A-Figure in a box. And here's what I think about this. Good on Hasbro. They came up with a really good way to release this, and I think it's gonna go well for them. There are some things we need to talk about though. There's some great stuff on here and some things that aren't so great. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer. Okay, this guy stands, I'm including this, and I'm saying the word stands reluctantly, but this guy is an overall height of just about 9 inches, which makes him pretty close to, let's say, 22 centimeters, give or take. Now here's the thing. There's a lot I want to talk about that's good and a few things that are bad, but first I want to do a question of the day, which is, how do you guys feel about these Build-A-Figure in a box type releases? I personally think, let's get this out of here so it's not casting shadows. I personally think this is a really good thing. I think this is a way to make the line feel a little bit more premium. I think this is a great way to get things like this in our hands without it being a Build-A-Figure. I personally like it a whole bunch. You guys let me know how you feel about it. Would you rather this was an actual Build-A-Figure, or are you happy to buy it in a box by itself? All right. Okay, so let's start with the aesthetic on this guy. I've given Hasbro a lot of crap over the years for making figures with heads that are too big, and I think I can very comfortably say, in this case, they played to their strong suit. That sounded more mean than I didn't mean it in a negative way at all. It's purely positive. This is an excellent release, and M.O.D.O.K has a big head. It was a joke, guys. Just so you guys have an idea, there's M.O.D.O.K, and there is Cyclops, who I might also mention, if you haven't seen that review, they nailed the proportioning on his head to chest and everything. It looks great. But there you go, size-wise, he's kind of chunky, and I think that's a good thing. Alright, so let's continue with the aesthetic discussion. Most of him is just molded gold plastic, which is this part here. They did put a considerable amount of paint, this bronzy color, more of a copper color, I guess. There's a lot of it. You might not notice it at first, but it's in there. Down here we have a slightly different color. There is some more paint in there. It's all pretty good looking. They did a really nice job with this part right here. It's glossy, very clean. This has some shading in it, or it's like a gradient to the center. That's very nice. Very, very aesthetically pleasing for the main bulk of it, which you would think would be pretty bland. His hair has a dry brush effect on it, so that's pretty cool. And then the thing that really stands out to me on this guy, obviously, is the face. It is the biggest part of him, and it's very important, and they nailed it. The sculpt is wonderful. The paint job is just fantastic. I'm very, 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 very pleased with it. It's worth noting they made him have pupils over the white eyes with even wider pupils, and that's a nice little touch. I love that. A lot of people might not even notice it, but it's a nice, subtle touch that I do really appreciate. I think though, one thing, if I had to find, well, there are actually two things, which I do have to find because it's my job to review them. The arms and legs do look very plasticky up against everything else. They're just satin purple plastic. There's no paint, there's no metallic, there's no nothing. I think this guy would have benefited from having the purple swirly metallic plastic. It's not terrible, but his headband and his arms and legs do look very cheap up against everything else, except I think the blast effect down here does not do the figure justice. This part in particular, it looks very cheap. It's not even a good translucent red, it's very milky, it's not a good color. This part underneath it has a little bit of shading between the red and the orange and the yellow, and it's semi-metallic, semi-transparent. It's not bad at all, but this part here is just really cheap looking. So it is a distraction, I think, and it does lean forward more often than not. Maybe I can, yeah, there's not really a way I can make him lean back. He's not well balanced. I guess right there. Yeah, okay, maybe you can play with it and not have an issue. But yeah, so as far as the aesthetics go, these could be a little less plasticky looking, and this could look a whole lot nicer. But by and large, is that the saying? It is. It's gorgeous. I mean, his face was the important part, and they nailed it. So I'm going to give this guy a very strong 8 out of 10 for the aesthetic. They did a really, really good job with the face. Now, for accessories, he does come with 2 wide open hands in the package. You get an alternate fist hand and an alternate, it looks like a trigger finger hand because it mostly is, gripping hand for his little dongle there. And then you do get an alternate face, which is him yelling as if he's doing a forehead blast, which is a really cool sculpt. I love that. The mouth is well executed. I do wish we had a forehead blast to go with it, but still a decent enough batch of accessories for a guy like this. So I'll give it a 8 out of 10, I guess. The second face looks really good, but a forehead blast would have been great. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. The head, it does rotate. Oh, I hope some of you chuckled out of that, because that made me very happy. The arms are your standard Marvel Legends shoulders. They have a ball hinge, they go up and down minimally. They rotate, of course, again minimally because we have limitations here. No bicep swivel, we have a single jointed elbow, which gives you the hinge there, and that's where you get your bicep swivel. How useful that's going to be on this guy is pretty questionable, but it is something. It's better than nothing, and I think that's fine. Wrist swivel and hinge, of course, that is fine. The legs are on a ball peg, which is fine. You do get a thigh swivel, which serves virtually no purpose. You get a double jointed knee, which is there. If you need him to bend his knee, that's fine. And then you get your standard Marvel Legends ankle, which goes not all that far back, decent enough far forward, and a little terrible ankle rocker. But they did put a nice hexagon pattern on the bottom of the foot, which is a nice touch. I like that because you would see the bottom of his foot. I do have to say though, I'm pretty bummed out because my guy has 2 left legs. It's not just the foot either, it's the whole leg. So once again, Hasbro's allotment of defective figures has landed squarely in my lap. Not happy about that. Doubt it's a regular issue though, so don't worry about it. So articulation wise, it's what you would expect it would be for a giant floating head. For what it is, 9 out of 10, I guess? I don't know. Seems reasonable enough to me. Okay, so time for the final verdict on this piece. I think it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's at least as good as what we should have expected from Hasbro overall. I do hate the blast effect. I hate it. But as an entire release, I think they pretty much nailed what they were going for. They should be happy with this. I think collectors will be happy with it. And I'm going to give you guys a final verdict of 8.5 out of 10. The blast effect looking so dumpy and being not quite balanced properly, it seems. Maybe I can get it to balance. It's still a downside, but it's a strong release. It will rival the original M.O.D.O.K. I don't have mine handy to compare. Hopefully I can pull it out for photos. If I can't, I have reviewed it. You can check it out in my Marvel Legends playlist. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you thought about the video by giving it a thumbs up if you liked it, and a thumbs down if you didn't. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on my channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.